All right. Hi there, everybody. This is Phil Harwood. I'm joined by Tabetha Vetter, my business partner and partner in crime at Tamarisk Business Advisors. And we're here to talk about this month's blog, which is in our newsletter. Hopefully, you're receiving that. If you're not, go to our website and sign up right now. And we're writing about in this month's blog the 5 Ds, but really, and we're going to talk about what those 5 Ds are. And maybe you've heard of this, but we're hopefully going to offer a fresh perspective on what the 5 Ds are and why they matter to you. But really, when I think about this, this is all about planning for the unexpected. And in preparation for this little video post here, I was thinking about the fact that, some things can be planned for, but, some things can't be planned for necessarily, or sometimes we have this category of, I'm going to plan for that because that's expected. So for example, I'm a hockey player, so you may have heard the phrase, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. So like like you can, as a hockey player, like you expect to get in a fight. Even the back of my jersey had a little clip in it where it hooked to my shoulder pads, the back of my shoulder pads, the strap. So someone, when I'm in a fight, because that's expected, I'm going to be in a fight, someone can't pull the jersey over my head and beat the crap out of me. My jersey stays in place. Okay, because you don't want to be the guy with your jersey over your face while someone's pounding the lights out of you. So, playing hockey, you expect to have a fight and you plan for it because it's expected. Okay. I also played baseball and football. I was a pretty small kid, so I wasn't a great football player, but um, I had a lot of fun playing football, but being on the team anyway. But I played baseball and I was a pretty good baseball player. I played infield, second base, third base. Um, and one time, I can't remember if we were getting annihilated or if we were way ahead, but my coach said, Harwood, I want you to pitch this inning. I was like, what? I've never pitched ever before in any uniformed profession, like pro in my mind, like pro game, like for realsies, like, yeah, in my backyard on my little, spring loaded return thing. Yeah, of course I pitched, World Series game 7, but for and so you go from second base to all of a sudden you're on the pitcher's mound and all your peers are staring at you, and you're 15 years old and you're like, okay, I didn't plan for this. I planned for the fight, but I did not plan to be a pitcher. And
How
so
did you do as a pitcher?
I don't think I did very well, but I got through a couple of batters before I got yanked. I don't think I made it through the inning. Um, but as business owners, it would be really smart for us to plan for both the expected things and the unexpected things, unexpected kind of in air quotes, because, as we're going to talk about with these 5 Ds, the unexpected things are things that you can anticipate, even though the things that you don't like to think about on a regular basis. So, um, what Tabitha and I are going to do is just kind of talk through these 5 Ds and just talk about what they are and what are some of the things you might want to be thinking about. And the first one is something we don't ever want to really think about, but we need to as business owners, and that's divorce. So take it away, Tabitha.
Well, Phil, the reason that divorce is the first one on here is because it doesn't just end a marriage. It can end a business if it's not properly prepared for. And even though we don't like to think about these things, there are key considerations that have to be planned for by business owners.
Such as,
Establishing a prenuptial or a postnuptial agreement that defines asset division, avoiding the use of personal collateral like a home or equity for business investments. You don't want to mix the two.
Mhm.
And preparing for operational disruption if a spouse is involved in the business and that spouse leaves.
Yeah, I was also thinking about a lot of our clients, they are either going through or have gone through or are thinking about moving the business into the name of a spouse, a woman, so they get the woman-owned business status and the all the benefits that come along with that. And you have to transfer ownership to do that, to be legitimate, to be qualified as a, minority-owned business or a woman-owned business, depending on who you're going through for the certification. And then the other aspect of that is, if you have children involved and they've become your partners, maybe you've sold them some ownership, or maybe you have a buy sell with them, or maybe you have some legal entanglement with your children. Well, unfortunately, a lot of 30 somethings are getting divorced. They rush into marriage and it doesn't work out. And even though they have little kids, we see it all the time. It's unfortunate, but it's very common. So it's not just, like the business owner who might be my age or, in their 50s, like, yeah, they might be fine. Maybe they don't like their spouse, but they're not going to get divorced. But they should be thinking about their children because maybe that's where the risk is.
That very well could be.
So, yeah, great. Okay. What's next, Tab?
All right. The next D that we take into consideration is disagreements, protecting your partnerships, um, reviewing and updating your buy-sell agreements annually, having really definitive roles and responsibilities mapped out for the partners, and then honestly practicing open, honest, and consistent communication. Um, because disputes between business partners can absolutely destroy the value of the company very quickly.
Yeah, this category here just reminds me of the old saying, there's never a problem until there's a problem. And in partnerships, there's inevitably a problem. It's very rare to go all the way through in a partnership without some serious, pretty significant disagreement. I think a lot about governance here and about decision-making authority and having more structured decision making, having annual meetings and having votes for things that are documented and resolutions. And we don't think about a lot of that stuff if we're a partnership or an LLC or a family business. But if you're an S corp and you have a board of directors, like governance becomes extremely important. And there's no reason those same really effective and kind of best practice governance principles can't be integrated into a family business or an LLC or just a 2 or 3 person partnership. And they should be. So to me, that's kind of where my mind goes with this.
I mean, that could even apply to even a single owner if
Hmm.
they have
For
a strong
sure.
leadership team or another key person within the organization. Uh, that can cause a lot of tension between the owner and the key employee as well.
Yeah, 100%. Me could be a single owner. Me, myself, and I, we had our annual meeting on this date in my office. It was attended by me, myself, and I. Here were the resolutions that we voted on, and they all passed. And they're going in the vault. And now, I can prove to the bank or some prospective buyer of my business that this decision was made appropriately on this date by the right person, and here's the resolution. And I'm kind of exaggerating, but you honestly could do it with a single person entity. All right, let's
Absolutely.
move on. What's
All
next?
right. The third one, distress, happens to the best of us. Financial and operational crisis. Um, it comes in all forms. Security, or it could be anything from cybersecurity breaches, supply chain failures, businesses caught off guard by loss of revenue. So it's important to build strong financial contingency plans, ensure that you have proper insurance coverage, and also incorporate risk mitigation measures into your operations.
Yeah, the blog post, if you actually read it, refers to the value acceleration methodology. It talks about business continuity and contingency systems, value enhancement, risk mitigation. I think about what we do with most of our clients. We're looking at things like, do you have one big client that could really tank you if you lost that customer? Do you have one employee who's doing all the sales? And maybe it's the owner, but maybe it's not. But maybe that one key employee who knows everybody, if you lost that person and they took all your clients, you'd be done. Maybe you're over relying on a supplier that has some unique, innovative thing that you can't get somewhere else, or maybe have some sweetheart deal that is accounting for your profitability. And if that one person retires from your vendor who gave you the sweetheart deal 20 years ago because you're golfing buddies, you don't have that deal anymore. Your whole business model goes sideways. That's the risk.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, what's next? These D's are ugly. We
I
got
know
two
the
more.
next one's even worse because it happens. None of us can avoid it. But the fourth D is death and planning for the unthinkable.
Is it a beer truck or is it a what? It's always some kind of truck you get run over by.
Get run over by a truck, a lumber truck, a beer truck. What about a bus?
There you go. No, the bus is like the people on the bus. Do you have the
Oh,
right people on the bus? The
oh.
bus doesn't run you over. I think the truck runs you over.
Okay, so let's get hit by a truck. Okay. Um, yeah, the death of an owner or a key employee can devastate a business. Also, if that properly planned for, it can devastate the family, a family-owned business, the spouse. Um, you really want to maintain a key person policy and
Hmm.
keep your estate plan updated.
That's huge.
It's absolutely huge. And document all the processes so you can
Hmm.
make sure that everything is taken care of should something detrimental happen.
Yeah, I don't want to add a whole lot here because I don't want to
Yeah.
spend too much time on this, but I do think it's like I think about even the importance of who holds that insurance policy.
Mhm.
Is that the owner personally? Is that by their personal funds? Who bought the policy, right? Who's the owner of the policy? Is it the business or is it maybe a trust? And estate planning, and especially for high net worth individuals, if that lifetime exemption comes down from 14 million to 6, which it might, we've all read about that, that could really impact this as well in terms of marital trusts and generation skipping planning and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really important to be educated and have good advisors in these areas so you're well taken care of, because you just, again, you never know. It's one of those things. What do you expect? You expect things, and then you have the unexpected. You expect to live forever. You expect to travel the world, see your great grandchildren, have great health. But we should also plan for other things because sometimes that doesn't happen. So.
And you just touched on something. You said plan for great health. Well, the last one is disability.
Hmm.
Sudden illness, injury can really, really put the business at risk. Um, should definitely have disability insurance and your buy-sell agreements. Make sure that there are medical and financial powers of attorneys in place. And again, making sure that all critical processes are documented.
Yeah, I want
Just
to talk about that powers of attorney a little bit more because,
yeah.
I think it's just really common for especially married couples to automatically just, oh, my power of attorney, number one on the list is my spouse. Well, that may be the right move, especially when it comes to the medical power of attorney. Um, and by the way, that's called something different in every state. So it could be an advanced directive or healthcare uh, power of attorney or healthcare directive, or they all have different names.
Mhm.
But there's a medical power of attorney that gives somebody, could be your spouse, but it could be someone else, the authority to make decisions for you medically if you're unable to. Okay, that is very, very different than your um, financial power of attorney, which is also often called a durable power of attorney. It's durable because it survives. It is in place even if you're not there competent to make decisions. It survives that incompetency period. That's why it's called durable. But anyway, that financial power of attorney person um, might be not your spouse because you really want someone who can make really good decisions financially about your business and all your assets and your trusts and know where all your stuff is, and it just might be overwhelming for a spouse. They might not be equipped to make all those decisions and handle things. So you might want to think maybe your business partner is your financial power of attorney, or maybe your attorney is, those types of things. So just don't assume that just because you have, oh yeah, I elected my son-in-law and he's a nice guy. well, that might not be the smartest move. So you just want to think twice about that. All right, take us home, Tab. What didn't we cover?
I think we covered it all. You even mentioned the value acceleration
Hmm.
methodology. And, one of the first steps in that process is going through all of the risks and figuring out how we can help owners mitigate those risks so that should something tragic happen, that their company is taken care of, their spouse, their family, etc.
Yeah. So there you have it, the 5 Ds. Sometimes you hear about the 6 Ds or the seven, and we would probably come up with 12 Ds, but those are kind of all the bad things.
Yeah.
So hopefully this was insightful. Hopefully you wrote something down. If there's anything we can do to help, please hit us up. We're both available. Phil at tamariskadvisors.com, Tabetha at tamariskadvisors.com. Check out our website, check out our social feeds, and we really appreciate you being part of our community. And thanks for listening. Have a great day. Now go forth.